It's all yours, Carmen.
Cool. Hey, everybody. So today on the Zoom call, we will be talking about, you have not because you ask not and you don't believe in yourself. Essentially, I'm going to be going over the Forex Factory calendar, but there is a mindset shift that has to happen. And I mean, it has to happen. It can't be any other way. Like, it literally has to happen before you can even think about stepping up to the next level, because there are things you got to let go of and things you have to shed in order to be light enough to be able to get there. Because if you try to go higher heights with anchors attached to you, you're never going to make it. There's always going to be something holding you back, pulling you back. So you got to know at what point in time you're ready to move to the next level and when it's time to shed dead weight. So give you a little bit of a backstory, then the whole philosophy and what needs to happen with your mindset. So all of us in here are in this group for investment purposes. We want to invest money, make money, have money for ourselves and future generations, and grow something and leave something behind that, our descendants can be happy and grateful to have and build upon. So one of those elements that we will eventually get into is real estate. So I've been wanting to build a real estate portfolio. My dream, my goal is to have a real estate portfolio that will, as passive income, cover my monthly expenses that I have right now. So in order to do that, I had to evaluate my closest 6 people. Who are the 6 people that are closest to me? And do they have the information that I need to get to where I want to be? That answer was no. And I said the 6 closest people, people that I literally talk to every day, the people that I spend the most time with. Can they help me to get to where I want to go? No. So that means I have to incorporate people into my life that will help me to get to where I want to be. I have a coworker. He's getting ready to buy a house right now, $800,000 house in cash, because of his real estate investments and because of his crypto investments. So I asked him, I was like, yo, so how did you get into real estate? Like, how did you do it? He literally sat me down and gave me his whole Rolodex. And I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, like, yo, we all have dreams, goals, and aspirations, but we don't ask. Like, do you have the confidence to ask the questions and to look a little silly and to be like, okay, I don't understand that. Break it down for me. Like, you got to have that humility. You got to have that level of, okay, I don't know this. Like, take pride, take ego out the way. Like, if you're not willing to ask the questions and look a little silly, you're never going to make it. Like, you have to get to the point to where you're like, okay, let me go approach somebody I would never approach because they have what I want. If somebody has what you want, are you going to go to the person who is closest to you and ask them and they don't have it, and sound a little lofty with goals, or sound like you're flexing a little bit, like, oh yeah, I'm trying to do this, to a person who will never be able to help you get there? Or look a little silly to the billionaire who is a billionaire, who can literally tell you all the steps that it takes to get to where they are, to help you get to where they are. Like, my coworker literally gave me the whole Rolodex and was like, oh yeah, here, just contact these people. They'll tell you everything you need to know. They'll set you up. I literally had 3 phone calls today, literally about how to structure my finances, what I need to do with my business, how I need to now go through and assess the real estate market. And the agent, she was like, oh, well, I'll do that. I'll send you an email tonight by midnight with everything you need to know, all the listings, all the land that's available, all the contractors, the pricing, and everything. I literally don't have to do anything. All I had to literally do was look a little silly and ask. So how silly are you willing to look to be a millionaire? How silly are you willing to look to be a billionaire? How silly are you willing to look to get to where you want to go in life, to achieve your dreams, to have that nest egg, to have that legacy that you're going to pass down to your kids and your grandkids? Like, how silly are you willing to look? So you'll never grow, you'll never get better, and you'll never get what you want if you don't ask. Everybody wants to be rich, but who are you surrounding yourself with? So I want everybody to do an assessment. Where do you want to go in life? What do you want to be? Like, just list it out. And then list out the 6 closest people to you, people you interact with and talk to every day. The top 6 people. Are they going to help you get there? If that answer is no, then you need to add people. You need to start incorporating people into your life who are going to help you get there. That's not to say dismiss those top 6 people, but you have to start surrounding yourself with people who are going to help you to go where you want to go. You are the sum of the closest people in your circle. So if the closest people in your circle are employees or self-employed people, the people who are on the left side of that, cash flow quadrant that we always look at, if your top 6 people are on that left side, you have some problems, because we're all trying to be business owners and investors. So you need to have at least half of your circle people that are on the right side, people who are business owners meaning they have a business that has people who work for them. Self-employed, no. So a self-employed person would be someone who owns a business, but they have to do the majority of the work into their business. They don't have employees whose time they can leverage. You need to be talking to people who have learned and mastered the art of leveraging other people's time. You need to be talking to investors who have learned the art of leveraging other people's money. Essentially, what I did was ask my coworker, how were you able to leverage other people's money in order to grow your real estate portfolio to be able to buy a house, $800,000 in cash? Like, literally ask. Be okay with looking a little silly to go approach a person to get the information that you want. Don't floss and fake your way to freedom, because flossing and faking your way to freedom will lead to people thinking that you already have what in your mind you know you don't have and you're trying to obtain. You look the part, so people aren't even going to try to approach you to say, oh, hey, there's this opportunity, because you already have put on that costume, put on the mask to make it seem like you have it. Don't do that. Like, be cool with who you are and where you are, and ask the questions. Don't fake and floss your way to freedom. And do you have the confidence? So your confidence level matters. It matters not only for being able to step up and ask that person or group or company or whoever it might be what you need to know, but the confidence level also translates into the markets. When you're trading, whenever you're being active, you need to have confidence. You guys have been in these, most of you have been in this group long enough to know how we trade. You've been in this group long enough to know how to set up a demo account, how to trade in your demo account. And your demo account, you should be treating your demo account just like real money. If you out here in your demo account and you got $100,000 in it and you putting in standard lots, you doing it all wrong. You need to delete that demo account and start all over again with something that's going to be more realistic to what you're actually going to do. Because what you're going to do is mess yourself up. You're essentially going to mess yourself up, and that's keeping it PG. You're going to mess yourself up because what you're going to end up doing is opening up a live account, putting your real money in that live account, and then trading just like you were trading in your demo, thinking, oh yeah, I got this, I'm good. And then something's going to happen. News is going to happen. Breaking news is going to happen. The fundamentals are going to flip. The technicals are going to flip. And then you're going to look stupid. Like, dang, I over leveraged my account. Mr. Levels talks about not over leveraging my account. Like, yeah, don't over leverage. Treat your demo account just like your live account and you'll be fine. But you got to be realistic with it and you have to be confident. If you don't have the confidence in your demo account, you're definitely not going to have the confidence in your live account and you're going to blow it. So anytime you get ready to place your trade, you should be placing trades based off of your trade journal, based off of your trading plan. You should know exactly how many pips you are trying to obtain or a monetary amount that you're trying to obtain for the week. During the week, you should know, okay, these are how many pips I've caught. This is how many trades I've placed. This is where I need to go. And then you also need to be very, very cognizant of being realistic with your goals, being realistic with the trading plan, and knowing that if you don't hit your goal for that week, don't try to overdo it the next week. Don't try to overdo it at the end of the week to try to compensate, because it's going to happen regardless. Make it all realistic, but just be confident. Be confident in what you know. Like, the information is taught very plain, very clear. If you don't understand, ask the questions. Like, we get on these Zoom calls and we're here for you. Like, we spend our time Monday, Wednesday, Friday for you guys to ask us questions, to get on these calls and get all the information you need to know that will help you be a better trader, a more confident trader. But if you don't ask and then you get into the trading group on Telegram and you talk about how you messed up and it was something we covered on a call, from now on, I'm going to call you out, because there's no sense in anybody on this call messing up because you weren't paying attention on a call or you weren't confident. Like, if you're not confident, you need to study the material and then get into your demo account and then live trade. If it takes you until December to get into a live account, I do not care, because honestly, it's what it's going to take for you to be a better trader. But from now on, I'm telling you, ask your questions here, because everybody messes up. I understand that. Mistakes are made, but there are some mistakes that should not be made. Nobody in this group should be over leveraging. If you don't know how to calculate leverage, you need to ask. If you don't know how to calculate margin, you need to ask. If you don't know how to get in and out of trades, place a stop loss, place a take profit, you need to ask. Because if you put a chart in the group and your take profit and your stop loss is in the wrong place, unless you're like 1 or 2 weeks in, I'm gonna look at you like, why is it in the wrong spot? Like, these are things you should know. You should be going through the YouTube material. You should be going and asking questions in the class to make sure that you get this information. And I know which of you have been in here for a week, which of you have been in here for 2 weeks. Like, I scroll through, like, I know. So if you're an old head and you've been in here for 4 months and you making some very 1-2 day old Forex trader mistakes, just know I'm gonna look at you crazy. So anyway, all right, I'm gonna go over the Forex factory calendar now. So, all right, cool. So this week, we started out this week with some bank holidays. We started out with some speeches and a couple of hearings. So yeah, tomorrow is going to be a better day, technically tonight, going into London session, because those banks will actually be open, or the bigger banks in London will be open. Tomorrow, we have consumer confidence news. That's going to be super, super important. We're going to be looking at that news tomorrow, because we're wanting to see how confident people are with economic progress, economic growth. Part of this is coming off of that time period where stimulus checks were starting to come out. So people might be slightly confident because of that, but we'll see how and in what areas people are confident and in what areas they are not confident, because the questions that they ask kind of hint to, you know, whether people are confident with their jobs, with the overall economy, and so forth. And then tomorrow night, we get rate news from the New Zealand dollar. I'm not expecting this news to change as far as the rate is concerned, solely because at this point in time, we're just needing to stabilize. We need to like see how all of the rate changes and all of the stimulus packages all of the conversions between banks. We just need to see how all of that stuff is going to play out. So I don't expect any of that to change. Crude oil inventories, definitely paying attention to those, coming off of the shortage, coming off of things in the Middle East, trade deals that happened between China and Iran and Russia with oil in the last couple of months, just watching how that's stabilizing. But then also the EU is opening up travel. More people in the United States are starting to travel. So I'm expecting to see more and more oil usage as we go through the summer. And then we're also coming up on a holiday as well. So be paying attention to that. On Thursday, we have the preliminary GDP numbers coming out for the United States. This is so important because this is going to give us the very first look at how well our economy has grown or if it shrank. And so we'll be paying attention to these numbers. The preliminary number is always the most important because it's the very first one that comes out. It's like the rough draft of the GDP numbers. So it's always the most important of the 3 GDP numbers that we get for the United States. We'll be looking at unemployment claims because we want to see more people getting back into the workforce. The thing we don't want to see is this number drop, but the number dropped because people actually fell out of the unemployment line and didn't go get jobs. Those would be people who lost their benefits with their state and have to wait a period of time before they can reapply. And then pending home sales. So kind of going back to how I started the Zoom call, talking about real estate. So the real estate market right now is like super hot. I told you guys last week in the group chat, I just kind of hinted at it a little bit that I saw like 2006 kind of creeping up again. It's definitely creeping up again because what is starting to happen is people are getting into bidding wars over houses. Um, to go back to my coworker, the house that he just bought, there were 35 offers put in on that one house. So people are willing to pay more money than what the house is going to appraise for, which means they get into a negative equity situation, which means, they paid more than what the house is actually valued at. And so when stuff like that starts to happen, you have to think about, lending issues, cash flow issues. You have to think about what's happening to the banking sector on the back end. Like the inflation that's going on in the housing market isn't just because of rates and the supply and demand. It's also happening because of the cost of supplies, building materials, the inflation rate on those has skyrocketed as well. Lumber, your aluminums, and some of your plastic derivatives, all of those things, even sand. The inflation rate on all of that stuff has gone up. So pending home sales is going to be super important because we are looking to see how many homes are out there for people to buy, how many homes are, pending in sales. And we want to look also to see what construction companies are doing, what the realtors are doing. So we'll take a look at the whole housing market on Friday because this news for the pending home sales comes out on Thursday. And then on Friday, we have the personal consumption expenditure price index coming out. So this is going to be looking at personal spending and it's going to be looking at consumption. So how often are people spending? What are they spending? And just habits. These are different ways that the government keeps track of personal spending, how and where people are spending their money so they know essentially if there's stimulus money and if the money that is being given out to the people is being given in the right place. Also, they use these numbers should one part of the economy suffer, then they know where people are leaning towards. They know if people are starting to spend money, if people aren't spending money, and if people aren't spending money, then they can look to these numbers to kind of get an idea for how to shake the market, so to say, and get people to spend money. And so those are the things we'll be looking at this week. So just know that on Friday, we'll be doing a wrap up and we'll be talking about the real estate market. Throughout the week, I'll just drop stuff in the group chat. There's several things going on. We have several bills in Congress that are going to be looked at pretty soon. We have cryptocurrencies doing their thing. We have, a lot of chatter in the NFT market and industry. So, we have lots of things that we can talk about, focus our attention on. But I just want you guys to be informed traders. So just make sure that whenever, throughout the day, if you don't have an app on your phone that helps you to keep track of news, keep track of, what's actually going on, download an app. You can get investing.com, you can get my FX book, Bloomberg, CNBC, just an app that's going to help you throughout the day if you're not in front of a TV, just to know like, okay, this is going on. I need to check out my my trades, or I need to check out this market, whatever the case may be. So I'm stop sharing my screen. And the other thing that we'll be keeping an eye on, that I will drop information in the chat about as it comes out, is the EU opening up, because that's going to be a really big deal, not only for us here in the US, but around the world. That kind of opens up the conversation about vaccine passports. And we're not going to really talk about that, but just talk about, the world opening back up again, and how essentially, is the world ready for us to open back up again at full force? Because we see the inflation that we've gotten so far being partially open. Once the whole world truly opens back up again, are the supply chains ready for this? So we'll be talking about that as the week goes on. We'll definitely talk about it on Wednesday after some of the news comes out tomorrow. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Level so that he can get started with the technicals.
Cool beans. Great fundamental session, Carmen. Great job as always. Action packed, knowledge packed, passion packed. So I appreciate that. I'm pretty sure everybody else do as well. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into these technicals for y'all. Let's get it popping. So as always, we know we start our weekly technical analysis with the dollar. First, I just want to look at it on the daily time frame so I can get an idea of the overall trend of the dollar. So looking at the daily time frame all the way back to March of last year, we can clearly see that the dollar has been in a steep downtrend. Um, We've already talked about the dollar on previous calls. If you need an update, go back and look at the previous recordings. They're all on our YouTube channel, Pips LLC training course. But to bring you up to speed, we are expecting the dollar to continue to be bearish overall long term. However, we could see bullish momentum out of the dollar temporarily with breaking news or with any high impacting news that we may see coming out. Um, with that being said, now that we understand the overall trend of the market, I do want to go down to the hour time frame and get a better look at it. And so, one second. And so, looking at the dollar and thinking back to the futures price that Carmen gave us at $88, 88 cents. I'm looking at this current structure that the dollar is holding. I don't know if y'all can see that with y'all naked eye, but I'm about to get ready to mark it for you so you can identify. But I just want to see if you can see it with your naked eye. But the dollar is sitting on top of a structure that I am about to mark for you now. Now, do y'all see that structure that the dollar is sitting on? Is this structure here, this structure here, and the dollar is sitting right on top of it. Y'all see that? Now, here's how we trade price action and market structure. Price is here. If we get a break below this structure and price come back and retest this structure and price cannot break above this structure, then we will take that as a confirmation from price action that the dollar market is going to continue being bearish to the downside and possibly retest, possibly retest these future prices that Corman gave us last week. With that being said, if the dollar breaks to the upside and gives us a retest of this same structure and it holds this structure, then we take that as confirmation from price action that the dollar is going to push to the upside to retest previous highs and potentially come back up to retest this previous high structure that we have here. That is trading price action and market structure in its simplest form and in its purest form. Simple price action and market structure. Break and retest strategy. Simple. Now, if you take that and combine it with our time and price strategy, you're golden. Along with using proper risk management and risk to reward when trading, you're golden. You are golden. So with that being said, let's look at our currency trades for the week. We know and understand that our currency pairs move in the opposite direction of the dollar. So depending on what price action shows us for time and price at the London Open at 3 a.m. in the morning, it will determine our whole setup for the New York market when the New York market opens at 9:30. So of course, that's what we're waiting to see. We don't predict the markets, we roll with the markets. We don't know which way the market is going to go. I don't know which way the dollar is going to go. That's why I gave you a break and retest price action market structure strategy, because we wait for a price to confirm for us what it is that it want to do. So depending on which way the market is moving, which way price action is going for London Open, we will use that information to base our London Open trade off of. Easy money, plain and simple. We don't complicate it. We don't throw all these what if scenarios out there to trick ourselves, to complicate the whole process. We keep it simple. What is price action showing us? What is market structure showing us? Is price action holding these market structures? or is it breaking through these market structures? Okay, price action is breaking through. We wait for the retest and we take our trade. Price action is respecting. Okay, we take our trade on the continuation. It's that simple. So if the dollar does continue to push to the downside, then we know we will expect Euro USD to continue to push to the upside. And this, of course, would be the next target take profit for Euro USD. 1.23 up in that area. See what that pip look like. Pip count. It's like 100 and something pips for the week. Vice versa, if the dollar decides to give us some bullish momentum this week, then we will expect to see Euro USD push to the downside. I just like the way these equal highs are just so clean right there. They just stick out. So we could very well see price do a liquidity run on these equal lows here. Come back down to retest this structure. Either scenario could happen. We don't predict the markets, we roll with the market. So same thing for GBP USD. We wait for time and price. When time and price give us confirmation, we know which way to trade our currency pairs. The dollar pushes down, we of course would expect to buy euro GBP USD. The dollar pushes up, then of course we would look to short GBP USD. Same thing NZD USD, same thing. Looking at our metals, same thing. Our metals move in the opposite direction of the dollar as well. So dollar pushes up, we expect to see silver sell. When dollar pushes down, we expect silver to come up, filling this imbalance here, which is beautiful, by the way. Let me go ahead and mark that for my records. I love this. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Yes. Let me see what gold look like. Gold be acting funny. She be acting stank. We did get this up move out of her last week. Yeah, same thing with gold. Basically, dollar pushes down, we will see gold continue to push up to start the week out with, at least. And dollar pushes up, then of course we expect gold to continue to push down. Now it is something that I see down here that is opposite of silver, and that's kind of silver imbalances to the upside and gold imbalances to the downside. Let me see. Make sure I ain't missing. Yeah. Okay. Cool bean. We'll see. Time and price. Oil. Oil making its way back up, ain't it? Let's see what oil do. Yeah. Came back up, broke through this structure, retested it perfect. You see, just an example of what I was just showing y'all with price action and market structure. 1 second. You see price broke down away from this market structure, came back to this market structure, didn't respect that market structure, did it? Bust right through it. But what did it do? Came back and retested that same market structure, didn't it? right here, came back and retested it perfectly. And then what did it do? Got on away from there. That's how you trade price action and market structure. Simple as that. Break, respect on the retest, you take the trade. And you had two opportunities here. One here, and it gave you another one here before it took off. Too easy, bro. Too easy, bro and sis. Too easy. Um, looking at U30, we gonna see. Um, let me see. Yeah. Hmm. Structure. Mad imbalance. Um, yeah, we could very well see U30 come back down to retest this structure, fill in this imbalance. However, we wait on time and price because we don't predict the markets. We roll with the markets. We could very well just see uh sell off throughout the rest of the night and going into London to fill in this imbalance that we see here. And then start to see the market do something like that throughout London. And then we will look for our time and price. But if London opens up bullish, then of course we will be expecting New York to open up bullish as well. Um, these equal highs here are pretty, and we have imbalance right above that. I don't know if y'all see that imbalance right there, but we have multiple imbalance right there. Um, what my mentor Michael Huddleston called is um, sell side imbalance, buy side insufficiency. Means that there's nothing but selling right here, and it causes an inefficiency in buying because there's no buying on this side. So that's buying inefficiency. Um, and that's what I see for U30 starting the week out with. So let's see how U30 moves throughout the rest of Tokyo markets and open up for London. And of course, we'll wait for time and price to give us our confirmation for our New York trade setup. So with that being said, I'll bring this session to a close and take any questions.